there's not people constantly trying it though, drinking it pure,
Yeah.
which is like, I wouldn't recommend that.
Yeah, I mean, it was like literally barely this, but it still was like, whew. And then mix that with like everything else that I was drinking, because I was trying to be the smart one. Like, oh, I'll drink like my water with Pedialyte and liquid IV. No, it's the day after thing, not night before thing. So just make sure to take care of your body. Don't do as I say, not as I do, as it were. Use me as an example of what not to do. But to get to formalities and all that, welcome to the part 2 to Introduction to Content Creation panel that I'm hosting. This is sort of the lecture segment that I want to do kind of as how I want to do panels going forward, with like part 1 just being getting into the nitty-gritty of like just getting started, everything with content creation, and this one being more, I guess, analytical, with understanding the many different platforms you have at your disposal and just figuring out what to do next. Because once you have things like figured out with what you're doing, you obviously want to get results, and you know, it's not guaranteed. Sometimes it's luck, sometimes it's hard work, sometimes it's making the best videos. Even then, that's not reflective of how things will turn out. So from what I found, there are just some techniques to make that a lot easier in the long run, to keep it in mind so that it doesn't feel overwhelming. Because trust me, when you are managing multiple different social media platforms, I like that you're writing things down. Thank you so much, God. I love it when people take notes. I was genuinely so flattered yesterday when I saw you guys like taking notes and writing things down when I was talking. Like, oh, it means I make sense with what I'm talking about and I'm not crazy. Well, maybe the last part isn't true, but regardless, it means a lot, because it means that you guys are really, I mean, you guys are here after all. You could be anywhere else at this con. You chose to be at like this random, this idiot's panel, and that means the world to me. But this, like I said, this panel is more experimental in the sense of I'm trying to iron out how I want to present everything. Like, this is the one presentation that I was working on till like 4 a.m. Wednesday night or so, because I wanted to make sure I was getting pretty much everything that I could right with it and make it as streamlined and palatable. So if things are a little bit on presentation, you know, feedback is definitely appreciated. Feedback, obviously, I'd love to have for anything that I present here, or if you think I could add anything in the future, obviously, questions at the end. So, but yeah, without further ado, let's begin. So the first thing, just a slight recap. You already saw this slide earlier. Again, QR code for the previous presentation slides. It's all going to be available. And whenever I do that presentation at future furry conventions, I will change that set Google slide, and you will get the updated slides as well. So don't feel like you're missing out by not being at another furry con. I want to keep this information as updated and available to anyone that really wants to use it. So pretty much for the recap, just how to get started, you know, just do it, follow your dreams, and, you know, just pull the trigger with actually making what you want to create. And then the other thing, let yourself be inspired, live a bit more, and just like open your mind to other people that really help you want to get into YouTube, like the many people that you've seen, whether it be me or whatever other YouTuber, with how you want to get started. The same thing with like keep like writing down things, notebook, good practices, all that, and then collaborating, come into it with like ideas. And that's why it all kind of flows with one another, just like write down your ideas, have your ideas in mind, with just doing it, you know, think about it but not overthink. It's a weird balance and requires a little bit of discipline from what I found personally, but you get the gist. And again, download the slides if you'd like. But, next one. What you'll hopefully learn today is a little bit more of a continuation, you know, from the last panel with finding a niche. I know that's the hard thing, getting into some sort of niche or particular subject matter that you want to post about or make, whether it's fursuit stuff or furry info videos or deadlock gameplay videos. If anyone plays that dead, awful MOBA game, God, it's so toxic. It's like League, but third person, and just, I've become an angrier person from it, but no good. But finding a niche is very important, because it's what kind of drives you to want to even make in the first place, but also kind of guides you through like, okay, you're this person, you're known as like this person, Beta, the Life Jacket Furry does furry info videos. You want to kind of figure that out. And so I'm going to give you some tips on how to really find that, more or less a continuation from last panel. The other parts of it, playing the game, feeding the algorithm, the methods that you can take to really understand what the platform is that you're trying to post to. And I had a very, very interesting and insightful conversation yesterday with someone who said basically the algorithm isn't like some like magical machine that will never figure out. The algorithm at the end of the day is people. Like, it's people who want to watch your stuff. And it's not to overthink it and say like, oh, people don't want to watch your things. It's really not that deep when it comes to like looking at like the YouTube homepage and they're like, oh, this is interesting, oh, this is interesting. Like, we're all just mindlessly scrolling and look at something. But at the end of the day, the thing to keep in mind with anything for this, the algorithm is just people. And looking at it that way kind of helps plan out like how could I change things or improve things to get people to, I guess, click on it, making clickable. And that's more or less what we'll be talking about with that section. Along with that, what platforms to focus on, I'm going to be more or less ranking the priority of different platforms to post on, depending on what it is you're looking for. And you know, what if things don't work out? What if you're not getting the success you're looking for? What if you're not getting the results and you've been spending an exorbitant amount of time on your craft and it's just not working out? I have a couple of things to talk about with that. Also dealing with burnout, because trust me, we all, as any creative out there, you're going to deal with burnout, and it's rough. You feel like you want to keep doing it. You feel like you have to do something, but there's ways to sort of mitigate that from what I've experienced. And then just some general advice that I really thought of after doing this whole presentation. I'm like, you know, what would I really want to be a good takeaway with everything? And so that's more or less, hopefully, what you're going to learn. Hopefully just learn something. Hi. Oh my God, it's Vex.
Oh. I'm sorry, not sorry.
Oh my God, I'm your biggest fan.
Me too.
Oh.
You are your biggest fan.
I like your paints.
That's good.
I'm gonna do Twitter
Okay.
musicals.
I mean, it's okay. Is it really funny when I just take a sip of any sort of drink? I'm doing a good job here. Thank you again for that, by the way. Oh my lordy, lifesaver. But to get actually started, finding a niche, that is, I think, the one question that I get a lot when it comes to even just getting started with content creation. Not outside of like the nitty gritty with equipment and all that, it's just figuring out what you want to do. And a lot of it comes down to really soul searching, finding that passionate drive for it. For me, it was always commentary from like the inspiration that I talked about before. It's driven from like commentary stuff, gameplay commentary, let's plays, so on, to still now where I'm borderline on the cusp of doing like a podcast. So a lot of it has come down to me wanting to tell a story, wanting to talk, wanting to just yap on for hours. That's why I'm doing a panel. So that for me has been something that's been an innate passion for a decade now. But that's something that just kind of came naturally, and for some it just might not. You might want to figure that out, and obviously the niche is going to change. Like, you might not want to do the same thing forever. Say I didn't want to do commentary videos. Say I wanted to do more like hands-on vlogging projects or like compilations or something else. That would be something that I would probably grow into or find on my own end. So it really just comes down to experimenting, trying new things. It's more or less a continuation from the first panel. Experience new things, let yourself be inspired, look around and, you know, give it time. You know, there's no need to rush into a niche, but at the same time, I definitely understand the pressure with wanting to do it if you want to really get the ball rolling and know this is what I want to do. Anything can change. You can go from being a cooking channel to a gameplay commentary channel to a politics channel. You can do whatever you want, but just like really going and doing it is probably the most important part, because you won't know how it ends up until you actually try it. So that's the first thing to keep in mind. And obviously results, obviously in this sense of looking for a niche, aren't as important as finding what really fits naturally. Because if you're gonna do something that does get results, wouldn't you want it to be something that's more like authentic and genuine for what you're doing then and there as a person in your time? And like, say years later, you might look back at that and be like, oh, why did I do that? Why did I do like the cringe commentary compilation videos? You don't need to do that. And then you look back at it and cringe a bit, but that's just like, you know, at the time, that was what you have, and that's something to really understand that that's okay to do. If you look back at it and cringe, it means you've kind of grown a bit, and you're improving with your craft or what you want to do. So it's something to keep in mind. And also, just the usual advice point, there's always an audience for what you're doing. Don't ever say that you're boring, don't ever say that you're not entertaining, because chances are, if you're making something out there, someone else is gonna like that. Whether you don't really give any commentary in like a live stream or a video, and you just want to like yap on whatever it might be, you know, there's always going to be an audience. Chances are someone's going to like it. And especially ask for feedback, ask friends. That's how I found kind of my inspiration to even continue doing content creation, find my own niche forward from being in a rut, not burnout necessarily, but just not knowing where I want to take things. And obviously no such thing as copying. This is more or less stuff that I've talked about before. And just main advice points, you can do a mixture between like one niche and another if you found that like an audience enjoys one thing and they might not enjoy another thing. I still say do both, even if the results are not as potent as the niche that your audience knows you for versus what you might enjoy then, because you don't know where that might overlap. And for example, with me wanting to do more like random off-topic, philosophical, psychological stuff, but also doing like furry info stuff, I found that I could mesh the two together with these topics of being able to kind of do a mix of what I want and what my audience wants. So it's just something to keep in mind. But I keep forgetting to breathe. That's kind of the problem with this, so apologies if I'm all over the place. But again, always remember, you're not boring. I don't want to hear that anymore. It's something that I see like friends of mine who have been like content creators for years, or up and coming creators who aren't getting results. So they're like, am I boring? Am I not entertaining? Because they might not be getting the Twitch viewers they want. They might not be getting like the viewership on videos. You're not boring. There's always going to be ebbs and flows of how reception is with how people might come and go. And honestly, like that's the thing, success is never linear. As much as many people in the corporations nowadays might want to make things more linear with success where you keep growing and growing, it's not going to be. You're always going to struggle. You're going to have dip downs. You're going to have times where there is a lot of success. You're going to have times where time of year for making anything is going to be better. Like example of being a YouTuber, sadly, a lot of the times of year where things are a lot more traction heavy is during summer break, winter break, or any sort of time where school is out, because the majority of people online who are perusing YouTube and watching videos are like kids, people in school, people usually that don't have to pay taxes and have jobs and all that, because I don't have the time to watch like this 3-hour video. I just don't. I have so much to do. But like that's just something to keep in mind. Everything is going to have a time where it's going low and not great. There's going to be times where there's massive success. And don't overthink that. Don't let that question if your value is what it is, because you're not boring. If someone watches it and someone's entertained by it, if friends are giving you advice and feedback on it, you're not boring. Okay? There's always someone out there that's going to relate to you, and they're going to like what you put out there. Now.
Amazing thing of the instant.
Exactly. And it also means it kind of opens yourself up to people that don't like it, but that's also, dealing with internet and shitty people out there, But this is sort of the big annoying part that I don't really like about any sort of content creation thing is playing the game. And that's just, it's something you might want to keep in mind if you really want to get somewhere with it, to get success, to get views. I hate this. Truthfully, I hate all of this. I hate thinking about it. I hate looking at this and I'm like, oh, I should study thumbnails. I should use these hashtags. I'm like, in a perfect world, I would just want to upload like Furry Plays Minecraft Part 59 or something. But you can't title it that nowadays. You can't do it. You have to do the whole thing of like, this happened in Minecraft. This furry did what to me in Minecraft? And it's like, I get why that is, because it's more like enticing. I wouldn't say clickbait to some extent. This whole subject of clickbait is just weird and off-putting. Discussion for another day. But I hate playing that game, but that is just kind of what you become accustomed to with understanding how do you get people to watch what it is. And honestly, the best mentality I think I've adopted with it, which may or may not be good, is let the judge a book by its cover mentality take place, where you have the thumbnail and the title for whatever you're doing, let that be the clickable factor, and then let the content, the video speak for itself. And I know it might be a bit disingenuous to the borderline of like clickbait or over embellishing, but a lot of times if people click on it and they're still watching it, that's just the most important thing, the message that you're getting out of it. That's why I do title the videos and make the thumbnails that I do. Not because I want to bait people into watching something that's bad. I want them to learn from what I'm having to say, and usually it is that former point, or latter point, yes, former, first, latter, second, yeah. Latter point of learning whatever it is that I'm talking about. So, when it comes to just the nitty gritty, take it one step at a time. It can be very, very overwhelming, like study the thumbnails, titles, hashtags, analytics. Something that I would recommend but would be careful about diving too much into is using like third-party programs like TubeBuddy or vidIQ to look at like analytics, because it can show you like tags or description, keywords that people use in their videos to maybe use for it. And just like a little, I guess, debunking, tags on videos really don't do much at the end of the day. Like they might increase searchability, but tags are just kind of used to they're using keyword searches. So if someone's looking up a video, it's going to be very different than someone being recommended it naturally, which a lot of times when you are recommended a video, it's usually on like that sidebar on YouTube or like somewhere at the bottom on your phone, and that's how they keep going through the content rabbit hole and, you know, brain rot stuff by proxy. So that's just something to keep in mind. You know, ask for guidance too. But the main thing too, twisting the subject isn't bad. You know, like I said, judge a book by its cover is the sort of thing. That's why, you know, if there's ever a drama video about me that I have to do, I'm titling it like the Beta Lotus drama situation is goofy, like the whole moist critical title thing. And then this is just gonna be the thumbnail. Like, it's just gonna be like fun at the end of the day, and maybe that's a bit more enticing knowing that you're having fun with it. And I think that's something to keep in mind with it, you know. I feel like people can recognize, or audiences can recognize, when you might be trying too hard to get someone to click on it based on the title and thumbnail. If you're having fun with it and just title it some random funny shit that you think, it might be the more enticing thing. Like if it's so random, they might like it. It's something that I've noticed recently that might actually be a lot more helpful to keep in mind. And the big thing that I have found, it's a lot more easier said than done. Just be productive rather than destructive about it. When you are especially if you're comparing yourself to your peers or friends, like say you've been doing YouTube for like a year or two, and then your friend comes on all of a sudden and is like, I want to start doing YouTube. And they get immediate success in like the first month or 2 months. It is entirely understandable to be frustrated and look at that and be like, what am I doing wrong? Like, how did this happen to them and not to me? And I want to tell you right now, thinking too much into that can be very destructive because one, it distracts you from wanting to make what you want to make. And two, it's not healthy for the relationship too. I've seen it happen many times with different friends and friend groups. I've been the subject of that too, coming into the furry community, making furry YouTube videos, and people being like, oh, he's just clinging to Majira. I'm like, I just had like a really deep-hearted talk with him at 5 a.m. when I met him, so it just kind of clicked, and that's just how it be. But it's easier said than done. But don't compare. Try not to be jealous. Try to catch yourself on that and turn it into something that is constructive. Where, for example, if you are, I guess jealous of a friend who might be doing better, maybe ask them for help. Of like, hey, I noticed this is going well. I'm really happy for you, because that's for the case for me. I'm more than happy to see them doing well. What would you give advice on? How could you would you be able to help me out, give me feedback on this, or how I could change it? And then especially for the first part, study what they're doing. Study how that community is being received, or how the community is enjoying that content, and maybe apply it to your own. Take notes with it. There's so many ways of looking at it rather than thinking, oh, I'm not good enough, oh, they don't deserve the success, and so on, because it's going to take away from the time of actually creating and thinking of that idea. As someone who has fallen into that pitfall before, it's not productive, and that's not the mentality that you want to take on with it, and it can destroy many relationships. So just keep this part in mind, especially with anything that you do, okay? Please. All right, so the next part is kind of a little bit random, but I decided I want to kind of rank the different social media platforms if you're looking to get into any specifically. Like I had some people ask me, which one should I get into? I feel a little bit overwhelmed with wanting to do TikTok and YouTube and Instagram and Twitter and all this. Multi-posting is a pain. It takes up a lot of time. And even with all these third-party softwares to help you multi-post, it's still a lot to do. That's what I was doing before I came to Awoostria. I'm just like, oh, I should make some posts for YouTube. I have videos to post, some posts for social media, and a whole day went by, and I got maybe not even a month's worth of posts scheduled. It's a lot of work. It really is, and it's kind of to some extent unnecessary if it's just not getting that sort of traction, or it's just not the audience that you want to get from. Because different platforms, believe it or not, do have different audiences. And trust me, as someone who's been on YouTube, I do not want an Instagram audience. As much as I say it's the second highest ranking for a media platform, I don't really want it. But in terms of kind of ranking it, it depends also entirely what kind of content you want to make. The whole glass cannon idea of TikTok, for example, is it relies more on trends, something posted within a day or two. And so if you're focusing on TikTok to some extent, it's going to constantly want you to feed it actively, day after day. And that can be a little bit exhausting, but with the benefit of it, it relies more on short form content. So if you're snappy and quick with what you're doing for whatever media content it is, it's going to probably be better for you to focus on TikTok. And a lot of these you can multi-post to as well. If you're already making TikToks in the iPhone format, you can post to Instagram Reels, you can post to Facebook, even YouTube Shorts. And it's a way of kind of longevity, making your content like stand out on different media platforms. And I guess I'm kind of getting ahead of myself because that's the next slide. But pretty much, I mean, you can read this all here. Just, I would honestly, top 3 are the ones you'd want to focus on, maybe minus Instagram, in terms of even getting an audience, getting out there. Because YouTube is more like long-term video stuff. Twitch is like super long-term video stuff with like VODs, and truthfully, even growing on Twitch is very, very, very hard to do. It's very hard because there's an oversaturated market no matter what game you're playing. Everyone's gonna give all sorts of advice under the sun of like, oh, time your streams to play this game right after this one big streamer plays it. It's like, I'm not staying up till 3 a.m. to play Subnautica just for the sake of maybe getting raided by this guy. Because at the end of the day, even then, like, shout outs and raids and stuff will not equate to like long-term people coming back to your streams either. It's gonna be discoverable, but it's not gonna equate to that. You'd rather it be, in my opinion, you want it to be more natural. But yeah, the order of it, just focus on TikTok, YouTube, and stay away from Twitter. Just, it's getting worse, oh my God. But, on from that point about discoverability, multi-posting is something that I've found is so much more helpful with trying to spend less time worrying about where to post and focusing more on making it. Like with streams, for example, you can turn those into YouTube videos, and those YouTube videos you can turn into TikToks and YouTube shorts. It's sort of a routine that I've found recently when I haven't really been feeling like I want to record stuff. I'll just take some of my videos where there's some really good key points in it and create like YouTube short videos from that. And the benefit of YouTube is you can link that long video, like long form video, at the bottom of your YouTube short, so people will see that. If the YouTube short pops off, then it might resurge some viewership for that old video. It's a little like a life hack that I've kept in mind. Don't know how foolproof or good it is to do in the long term, so don't take my word for it, but that's just something that I've found. You can go from like long term to short term and really extend how much time you spend on a specific project. Instead of like recording each and everything for a short or a stream or a YouTube video, you can do it all in one. However, it can lead to it being a little repetitive from the audience perspective. As someone who was through the stream highlights era, you know, it can seem a little bit less genuine, less authentic. If you're interacting with chat in a video, you know, it's not going to be as personal when the viewer's watching it on YouTube. They're going to feel like, oh, this is just kind of like second dibs for whatever it is you're talking about. It's just something to keep in mind. And obviously with like TikToks and YouTube Shorts, Instagram Reels, you can post pretty much all of those all in one. If you already have the format of having short form content, and that's the big thing every media platform is trying to hone in on, is that very quick short form content. And I think that's where you can find a lot of immediate success, sadly. That's why you can overnight blow up on TikTok. You can have that one video that gets tens of thousands of views, and the next day you might be shadow banned as someone who's been shadow banned like 5 times for talking about whatever on TikTok, but I don't really care about that platform, truthfully. But it's just something to keep in mind. Try, if you already have one media format that you're trying, whether it's like pictures, videos, no matter what it is, try the different formats based on, I guess, the multi-posting set that I have here. And also something that I've realized too, I think Facebook is, in my opinion, a little bit of an untapped market if you want to try that. So Meta Business Suite, I know, really not that great, but Meta Business Suite has helped me with like multi-posting. And if you are going to multi-post, I would stay away from like the third-party programs. Like I think I've tried Canva before, because sometimes it can result in you either being shadow banned or even just posts not showing up. Like when I've tried to connect it to like Twitter or something, it just doesn't work, or it just is not going to upload. So I would just say if you can find like a format to like make a description for your post or something, or a tweet or video or whatnot, just copy and paste that between like the different platforms. Scheduling on the websites work too, so if you have like a time throughout the day, just like try to schedule shit instead of like do it one day at a time, because it can get a little exhausting like I've been doing today. And keep in time the ideal times. If you are uploading videos, for me, my ideal time of uploading anything, especially during the summer, has been like 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 12 p.m. to 1 p.m. like right now in the US, because that's when people would be out of school or out of work or just chilling during the summer. And on the weekends especially, like 12 p.m. or so. If it was during like school hours, like I don't know when school would get out here, but in the US it's like 3 to 4 p.m. That's when I'll like upload a video during the weekday. And it's just something to keep in mind, and all these analytics are available like on YouTube as well. You can check like the audience tab and see like, okay, when are your audiences most watching YouTube? And there'll be like a little graph showing like, oh, this is when your audiences are most on like YouTube watching videos. And it'll almost always line up with like the region's time of when kids are just out of school watching videos. So just something to keep in mind. Now, what if things don't work out? It's the big thing that everyone asks. You know, you've been doing this for a while, months, years, and you're just not getting the results you want. Or you had a goal in mind, or you don't know what to do next to get to that point. I understand wanting to get any sort of traction for what you're doing. You want your work to have a payoff to some extent. You want it to be seen, you want to be heard. You're not necessarily looking to make it big, to be famous. You're just looking for what you do to be validated in some sense of knowing, okay, this is worth it, this is good, and what I'm putting out there is valued. And honestly, it's a gamble with trying to figure out if things are going to work out or not. And because you could have it be on a basis of luck, you could have it be on a basis of skill. I've seen it many times where some of like the best videos out there on YouTube either never get discovered or get discovered like years and years later. Whether it's like animations or commentaries, whatever it is. And that's just unfortunately kind of the luck of the draw. And for me, a lot of the case has always been you kind of have to keep taking shots till you land a basket. And that's the one thing I've been told for years now. Even when I was struggling with like trying to find an audience on YouTube for like the 5 years that I started doing it, I was just told, keep making videos, keep making the next thing, keep improving it. And a lot of the kind of advice points that I gave earlier applied to what I received in the past. And I've seen that even reflected in a lot of movies that I've seen recently. Like if you haven't seen Tick, Tick, Boom, banger of a movie, you should watch it. It's based on like the playwright autobiographical musical, Jonathan Larson. He wanted to be a playwright in the US, wanted to be on Broadway, and he kept making these musicals, he kept writing them. And the actor who plays him is Andrew Garfield, but it's pretty much like the artist struggle, like the starving artist of like, he's working a job in a diner, but he wants to get this playwright done and is hiring cast for it. And he has all these people like looking at it and giving feedback, and it's kind of spoilers at the end. Even though he makes this, in his opinion, really good musical, he ends up throwing away his career opportunity, his relationship, a couple of his friends, and at the end of it, when he's talking to the supervisor, he's like, all right, what's next? You know, am I going to be on Broadway? And she's like, no, go on, make the next one. And pretty much the lesson was you've got to keep making it. It either is like a very kind of tragic extent of it, knowing how long they've been working on it in the movie or the musical film. And you know, the reality is you might work on the best thing ever, but it's going to be like, keep working on the next thing or improve it or make it better. But I think honestly, it's a lot more motivational, the lesson at the end of it. So watch that and, you know, watch Whiplash too, but that's kind of hit or miss for some people. I know it was a bit intense for me to watch, and I'm like, ooh. Yeah, but if you want some good motivation on what it's like to be, you know, an artist or a creator, like struggling to get somewhere, these two will hopefully motivate you as they have motivated me. But yeah, it's just more or less the lessons that I have here. You know, just keep going with it, keep trying new things, and apply what you've known and what you might remember, what people have told you in years past, to what you're doing, and just ask for feedback. I don't, like, it's either gonna happen or not, and that's just the sad reality of it. But even going on there, the other part of it, burnout. If you're continuing to do the same thing and you really want it to do well, but it's just, feel like you gotta feed the machine or feed the algorithm, and it's just a lot to deal with. Burnout sucks, and honestly, you want to keep creating, but it's just hard to. I've been there many times with wanting to make a video. Like I said, I might have like a 2-hour-long period throughout the day where I want to record, or I feel like I have to because I have everything set up for it. I have the script done, I have all like the thumbnail and artwork and everything I need done for a video. I just need to record it. Like it's so easy, but I'm just not feeling it. And that could be burnout, that could be being in a rut. It ends up being very paralyzing when you feel like you need to. And burnout is just, it sucks. But honestly, the best advice that I found with it is try to transform that creative outlet into something else, like switch between like another outlet, especially if you haven't tried it yet. Like if you've been doing YouTube videos, but you haven't tried live streaming, give that a shot. Or if you haven't tried any other content form, try giving that a shot. Because you might not know if that reinvigorates your interest with creating through burnout, but also what other medium might work. And it's a lot more easier said than done. And honestly, I don't know why I added this quote. That's really weird. Don't watch the video associated with that. But yeah, point being, burnout sucks. I don't really know how to deal with it besides just jumping between different mediums of creativity. It's a lot more easier said than done, but pretty much the points of what I say here are the best way that I could recommend just dealing with it. But even just a little example of motivation with this, that I kind of had a eureka moment when I was even making this. I challenged myself to do a 30-minute scripting process for a video. Like when I was going through this presentation, I was like, oh yeah, this subject about like AI art and like the trend that's happening with people adding grok on Twitter, and then like, you know, Mr. Beast doing like the thumbnail thing. I was thinking about it and mulling it over my head while I was doing this presentation. And so I kind of challenged myself in a sense to do like a 30-minute rough script for what that video will be. And this will be a video I will put out on my channel at some point. Probably gonna record it when I get back, week's time within getting back to the States. And the way I lay it out is, originally it was just title of the video and then just a blurb of whatever the hell the notes are here. But I've learned through like doing more of these scripts how to improve them in time. And so for my format, I'll add like an asterisk for like what I have new or what I want to change. That's different from a previous script. So the new thing that I added onto my script was thumbnail ideas, which is honestly the most important thing you should be thinking about, at least from my mindset with doing like any sort of video. How are you going to market it? As much as I hate using that yucky word, how are you going to market it? You know, title is good, but getting people to even see what the video is about is important too, the cover of the book. And so that whole section of like ideas for thumbnails is a new thing that I added in. So I go with a title, thumbnail, and then I add usually notes for a video. It wouldn't start necessarily here. It'd start with like a couple of the sources or tweets that I found that I wanted to use and base this video from. It always starts with some idea that I see, and I apply it to the rest of what I want to talk about with it. So it'd usually start like here, and then go over like up there, and then down here. But in time, I've learned to kind of format it better through multiple different scripting processes, just so you see how it works. And within the 30 minutes, I pretty much managed to figure out what the essence was that I wanted to talk about in this video, how I wanted to be organized. And some of it is like ranting points of me yelling in all caps, whatever the thought is in my mind. I'm like, I don't want to lose this, I'm typing this up as fast as I fucking can. And it's just, it can suck that way, but you get the idea out there. Whatever format you really need to do with it is all your own, but you can improve it if you look back at it time. But this is more or less an example of how I even script my videos if you want to format it the same way. You're welcome to use it, you're welcome to take this and go with it. Hell, you're even allowed to steal this idea if you want. If you end up doing this like video overnight, you know, I'll send you the sources if you want. You can take it. If you do it, good on you. If you do a better job with it than I do, even better. But it's just more of the point of like, I found this process that works for me, and I know everyone has different organization levels with doing videos, with putting ideas together. So if you want to use this and you don't really have an idea of how to do it, you're more than welcome to. But just kind of wanted to use this as a challenge to kind of show, okay, what can I achieve in 30 minutes? Like 30 minutes of just raw thinking about topics, work, getting the writing process done. What can I do with that time? So you're more than welcome to use that if you'd like. Now, for the sort of final part, mishmash of it, this is just my general advice from doing this for 10 years and kind of feeling where I am now with being in the position I am, being in Austria, and this lovely position of being the guest of honor, and also just being a YouTuber, being known and doing everything. It is so easy if or when you do get traction. It is never guaranteed. It might always be a struggle and it might never happen, as sad as it is. It's just the world and how things suck. Don't ever forget where you came from, where it all started, what got you into doing it in the first place. And I know looking back to some extent can be a pitfall. Like if you're looking back at your old videos or things that might have done well. Like I hear it often too, where some folks who are kind of in a rut or not really getting the success compared to what they once did are looking back and it's like, oh, I was doing so much better back then. Like these videos were so good back then and they're not now. And it's like, that's, in my opinion, that is not true. Because the more you create, the more you're doing things with time, the more experience you're having. And just because you might not be making or getting success from like something from years back, doesn't mean you haven't improved with what you're doing. It doesn't. You can have moments where you might not feel it, or you might not have done it for a while, but that experience is there, and you should never get stuck in the past. Don't get stuck in the past, especially. Remember who you are, remember where you came from with what you're making, but find a balance with, I guess, discipline with it. Don't get stuck with what it was before, but you gotta keep moving forward with what you wanna make. And obviously just be proud of your growth. Like as much as I like look back and think, oh, things were doing so well in like 2022 for videos. I look back at that and I'm like, I genuinely look at the videos, I'm like, I genuinely do a better job with the videos I do now in terms of like effort and like organization and timeline of how I put out things. It's a lot better than it used to be. And it kind of just takes that like discipline to like look back and not really get too consumed by what was or how things could be. Don't think the what ifs, coulda, shoulda, woulda. You just kind of have to keep going forward and look at it in a way of like nostalgia, not in the sense of what was and isn't now, but what can be. You know, you gotta have more, it really does come down to, in my opinion, courage and confidence to know that what you're doing and how you're progressing is more than you could ever believe. And that's why I always say, ask for feedback from friends. You know, have your friends kind of be your mirror of how you've grown. Because a lot of times we're just our own worst critic. And just don't get stuck on success too. It's very intoxicating. I've seen too many people on Twitter just be like, oh, I have followers overnight and they become the most annoying person ever. And I'm like, I'm gonna mute you. Yeah. But yeah, it's just more of advice things that I give in general. Hopefully I can answer more questions directly related to this later. And that's more of kind of how I want to frame the rest of this panel. It's just like a Q&A. So either way, besides everything and all the nitty gritty and scariness of doing this, you got this. You have this. I genuinely believe if any of you are struggling to either get started or get things going, you can fucking do it. I know you can. If I can do it, and I really don't have that much confidence myself, I absolutely know you guys can. You have to remember, furry especially, furries have so much personality, so much character, so much put into yourselves, your personas, you guys even being here. You might not even know it. You might think that you're boring. You might think that, oh, I'm not good enough for this. You fucking are. You have so much more personality than half the shitheads on YouTube that are being obnoxious or like trying to feed the algorithm. You know, as much as, you know, Mr. Beast might be a controversial figurehead, or you might like him, you might not like him, you know, he's an example of someone that I think has kind of corporatized the YouTube sphere and like made it more like, oh, what's the next big thing, what's the next big thing, and kind of dystopianized it, in my opinion. You know, like I said, with the rise of AI stuff, I think what is needed more so in any sort of creative space is personality, is authenticity. And so that's why I'm always gonna fucking root for you, no matter where you are, no matter where you're going. I'm rooting for you, and whatever I can do to help in your journey with content creation, I'm always happy to help. Just like reach out if you can. If I don't get back, you know, poke me again. But that pretty much ends this presentation. So thank you. We're going to switch things over to a Q&A if you guys have any questions about what we've talked about. And again, since people have asked, here's my equipment for what I end up using with lovely little GIF. And if you want to download the slides to both of these panels, the first one from earlier yesterday and today, the QR codes are on the screen. This is the first one from Friday, Saturday, yeah. But yeah. That was my experimental panel, so thank you so much for joining me. Also, I just want to say I'm not sweaty because I'm nervous, I'm sweaty because I'm like sweltering in here. It's like a sauna. It was hot outside.
Can we open the window? It's not that bad.
I'm American. I live in air conditioning. But no, if you guys have any questions, feel free to ask away, you know, with whatever I've talked about today, or if you have anything you want to have answered. If we have no questions, of course, ask me.
Do you have an advice for someone who wants to get into content creation in a field where they have little to no experience? Let's say, for example, wanting to create music but never having played an instrument.
I think when it comes to it, I know like kind of the canned answer to a question like that would always be like, you know, look up a video on like how to start. But like genuinely it does kind of come down to researching it, like with regards to music specifically. I wouldn't know, it just kind of comes down to, for me, it's always been like, I really want to do this. And I'm sure that's where it kind of starts for you. Like you want to get into music stuff but don't have any music experience. And a lot of times it has really realistically come down to me looking up tutorial videos, like even how to upload a YouTube video. There was a point when I was 12, I didn't even know how to upload a YouTube video. And I'm like, how do I do this? And I looked up a YouTube tutorial on how to do that. You know, a lot of times there are others who do have advice on how to do that. It just kind of comes down to looking for that. and looking for those videos, doing the research, and that sadly is the sad reality. You kind of have to do research on that. I don't mean to give a canned answer, but that's the best advice I would give for that specifically. Okay. Any other questions? Yes?
What if you're more into pictures than videos?
Honestly,
But still want to talk about the pictures.
True. Pictures specifically, I feel like you could really just narrow down like the video platforms and kind of remove those a bit separate. Like I know Instagram, Facebook are still like good platforms to use, Twitter sadly, but even like transforming that to some extent, if you really want to go the route of promoting things even on the YouTube sphere, you could like make little collages or even talk about, you know, the photos that you do. A lot of times it doesn't have to necessarily be just pictures, it could be talking about photography, and that might be branching out to an extent of creating something, but it might not be within what you really want to do with it.
No, it's more like pictures of travels or something like that you made, and then you have a story about it. How
Yeah.
did it? But isn't that kind of then boring if it's like just a picture and you stare at the picture for 5 minutes?
I mean, you'd be surprised when people watch them, and they're willing to watch Subway Surfers for 30 minutes straight. So, like, you know, someone finds that interesting. Someone finds that nostalgic to some extent. I'm sure if some people tried bringing back the whole even genre of like putting your phone screen up to like record gameplay on like your TV or something, I'm sure people would still love that. I'm sure that's eventually going to be a trend again. I genuinely think it will. So honestly, I would honestly keep an open mind with that, because you might be surprised what people enjoy with it.
Maybe. It's maybe then a mix of podcast and something like that, yeah.
Yes.
You know the Twitter function stream together. The streaming, the I'm stupid. Twitch. The Twitch function stream together, like doing column, and we
Yeah.
have shared chats and stuff.
Oh, and the knocking feature. I fucking hate knocking. Why did they add that? What on earth? I just want to watch my friend stream, not knock on theirs to be like, hey, want to stream?
But in general, do you think it's like useful? Is it a useful feature to like gain growth, or do you think like it's more, I don't know, harmful to your content? Because if you overdo it, maybe like having a call up every fucking time, because people should be here for you and not for the call up, I guess. So what's your opinion on that?
I think there's like a very fine balance with doing that specifically. I know like I've seen it very many times where a lot of people will try to rely on doing collabs to grow their own stuff. But to some extent, when you collab constantly with others, it's never really about you at the end of the day, and they're not getting, whoever's watching isn't getting the essence of what this streamer is. Like if Beta streams with like Snowy Fluff and Jake and does like collab with this and this and this person each day of the week, you know, it gives less time for that individual person and spreads it out to all these people. But at the same time, doing like the collab streaming, I think especially with how Twitch has changed it, despite the knock feature being obnoxious, I think how collab streams go now more so is a lot more beneficial to both parties, to be able to see, okay, this person's streaming with this person, and you don't have to just rely entirely on tagging their name in like the title of the stream, like streaming with Beta, and that's the only little bit of like, I guess, exposure, shout out, part of showing that you're streaming with this person. I think the collab feature really does work. It just kind of relies on like balance. Like my rule of thumb whenever I do a collab stream is like, at max 1 a week if I can, but most of the time when I'm streaming, it's more of just my own stuff, doing it solo. Or if you are doing like, you know, podcast guest style stuff, like kind of minimize it so that the focus is more, okay, what is the audience or viewer getting from you? Because when you're doing a collab, they want to see what you're doing and want to, obviously they're going to be in both your stream and their stream, but you want them to get to know like you and what the vibe of your stream is. So I think it really is just a balance, but yeah, pretty much. Talking on for pretty simple answer, but I explained it over complicatedly. Next question, I thought I saw some in the back. Yes?
When you upload something, does it matter if you capitalize the letters? Because like some people like everything lowercase, and like some people like capitalize every single letter. Like I want to know what do you think about it? Like what do you think looks better?
It's honestly, I think it's it's hard to say, because sometimes I do capitalize everything, sometimes I don't. I think to some extent over-capitalizing can make things a bit like disingenuous of like, click here, click now sort of thing, and it can seem like, oh, you're just trying to get people to click on it and watch it. But at the same time, capitalization might matter in the long run of like the key points in words. Like if you're capitalizing each word, it might make it stand out as like a meaningful video. I would say as well to keep in mind is when someone's seeing the video recommended, depending on the platform, whether it's on mobile or on like the YouTube homepage, at a certain point, it's going to abbreviate the rest of that title. So capitalizing some words is going to or keep the space between the words so that only a certain amount of that title is shown. If it's like a longer title, this is going to be ... at the end. So they might not get a gist of like what the video is about. But if you like don't capitalize some words, it'll show more of the title. So I think it really comes down to the balance with it. I guess another thing you can do to test it is what I sometimes will do is I'll upload a video unlisted onto my channel, which means anyone who has the link can only see it. It's not published, but you can look at it. And so I'll go to like my YouTube page or my home page and look through that video from just seeing the thumbnail and the title at the bottom, and it'll show me how much of that title shows up. And then from there, if I'm like, okay, it's not showing everything that I want to, and it's not really getting the point across of what the video is about, how can we like minimize it? And usually my rule of thumb is less words are better for any sort of title. If you're trying to name something for a video, a lot of the times you're just gonna look at the thumbnail and the title. You want that title to be short and to the point as much as possible. So like capitalizing or doing all caps can sometimes benefit if it's like an important thing, but not benefit if you're really trying for people to see what the video is about. Because at the end of the day, they'll either decide if they want to click on it based on that or not. So it really comes down to a balance with just showing the title. But yeah, yes?
How do you deal with haters? Because especially as a furry, there's people who make it their entire identity to hate on us. And do you just delete the comments? Do you ignore them? Do you answer? How do you deal with that?
Oh, I don't delete the comments because that's them feeding the algorithm for me, baby. So good. So good. Why am I being recommended this comment? I do wonder. I wonder if you'll get recommended it more. I think you should ask the comments section more. I think you should ask the TikTok page specifically why you're getting recommended furry content more. I'm sure by saying it, it's going to stop doing it. A comment at the end of the day is, to some extent, validation for that video, because the algorithm innately, as much as it is people at the end of the day, it's going to look at a comment and be like, okay, this is someone giving feedback on a video. This is someone giving more time to a video rather than just a watch or even a like. We're going to recommend it more. We're going to put it more in the algorithm. So hate comments, to an extent, do feed it. Obviously, depends on the subject matter of the comment. Like if it's some like defamatory statement or genuinely harmful or bad, like a bot comment, for example, usually you want to like delete that. And in terms of like dealing with that, like, I will say it too, I have had multiple times through the past 10 years of even doing YouTube, the pitfall where I care very highly what people think. And I'm a people pleaser by nature. I don't want people to be upset with what I do. I don't want people to be mad at me. I don't want people to not like me with me putting genuinely what I put out there. And that's a really hard part of doing it, especially if you're genuinely doing what you want and putting out there who you are. If you are getting bad, negative feedback for it, it can hurt a lot. And so honestly, it really does just take time to build up that thick skin with it. And I feel like I've gotten personally to a good point with it. It took me like 10 years to get to that point where I see like shit like this now. I'm like, okay, dude, I have rent to pay. I'm gonna do something else and not really focus on furry hater 293. And sometimes you can understand, okay, this is just like a kid on the internet who's just trying to be mean or edgy. But it's also hard to put into perspective. So dealing with it as a whole nother story, and that might be honestly a whole nother panel. But yes, you had a question in the back.
Several things. First, I think your phone stopped recording because it's overheated or something, or storage is full. I cannot read it, but
No
it's
way!
recording.
Already? That's crazy!
That's the first thing. The second thing I wanted to say
It's all good.
Yes.
was when I see haters, for me it's a lot about, I do not care what they talk about me. If they want to play me, like, I grew up in a Christian village as a freaking furry with blue hair at that time.
Oh.
So I couldn't care less about other people. And I just think it's sometimes funny to interact with them, troll them a little bit back. It defeats the algorithm, but it's also kind of fun.
It's all like a balance.
Exactly. The only thing that I do, like, really, if it comes to haters, delete immediately is when it goes against like community stuff like that against LGBTQ whatever. So creating a safe space for the people that are on your channel, especially as a furry can help and can increase the chance of you discovering or getting true, I hate the word followers or fans, but getting people that are connected to your content, I guess is the best way to describe it.
To an extent, if you're getting hate comments, depending on what it is, obviously subject matter wise, it means you're doing something right. You'd like to think.
Yeah,
Depending on what, obviously it's all subjective at the end of the day.
Yeah.
But you gotta have like, it's always like best to have like a good, productive takeaway with it rather than destructive with what I said. That doesn't just go for like people, other creators you see, but people who interact with your content as well. So that's a good point with it. Yes?
I have two questions. I apologize if you've covered this already. I have to come late to the panel. I'm afraid. One is if your phone's recording might have not worked out because of the overheating, did you still cover like all the core points in your slides?
Yeah.
So I didn't miss like any special addendums you made spontaneously?
No, it would pretty much be like kind of going off on tangents even from what I put on the slides too. So like the QR code here is literally just all the slides from this presentation. So, you know, main points of what I talked about there pretty much should be here. And yeah, I did record the whole thing, so it should be all
Hopefully
good.
the recording worked just because of the phone thing. That's why I asked. Just to
Peter,
make sure.
if not,
Yes, thank you so much.
Awesome.
You have such like a better setup than mine. Mine doesn't even have like stabilization. Like every time I walk, it
I
seems
mean,
like
I
I'm like a
also-
macro like kaiju furry and like shakes the screen.
I
I'm
also
like,
do very convention IRL streaming on Twitch. So.
oh hell yeah.
Nice.
See,
Not yet,
another
but
little niche. Another little niche.
I think I will send it to you. I don't know if I.
I appreciate it. Don't feel like you have to, but I do appreciate it. That helps more. Like that's the whole thing too. The example, your phone is like the best key that you could have with making anything. Your whole setup revolves around your phone.
Yeah.
Like that's really fucking cool to see.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's something to keep in mind with
And
that.
then a second thing I wanted to know. Again,
Yes.
sorry if you covered this. Tell me off immediately if you did. I was curious. Like I'm mainly stream, and I want to finally upload the highlights onto my YouTube. I started learning to edit it. It's been a bit daunting, but I've been making progress. My curiosity is just obviously I have some friends I can then send the video to. I did that with a few shorts, and they can of course upload it. They can post comments, but that's really all I can do. What else can I do to actually make sure the video like exists for people to find? Like, of course, that it could technically get picked up by the algorithm, but are there other places you'd recommend where people can help boost like new furry creators, or place for like discoverability of new furry creators on YouTube?
I think it honestly would just go down the list of all the different media platforms in terms of, I guess, immediate success you'd have. Like that was kind of a part of the presentation where I just ranked which ones to use. Like TikTok, for example, kind of a glass cannon. If you post those, like the videos will exist on there, and there might be immediate success on it where they'll like blow up. But in terms of the long term, like I very rarely find it where like videos that have been uploaded after a year still get like traction. That's just been my own personal experience. But like YouTube, for example, I feel like, and that's a complete topic that I forgot to even cover with this presentation, the whole topic and idea of like evergreen videos, like videos that are timeless to the extent where even in a year's time, you can have like a boost in the amount of people that come by to watch it because it's a relevant subject matter again, or it's just back in the algorithm, for example. And with even YouTube shorts, for example, with if you're doing clips specifically, those can have like a surge or initial boost, but a boost in the long term as well. Like some of my like YouTube shorts about like anti-furries, for example, will have like surges usually around like summertime when kids are out, but like they'll have like surges where like, oh, they'll come back, more people will be commenting on it, and it'll boost it in like the long-term algorithm. If I had internet access, honestly, on this laptop, which it's just not going to work no matter how hard we tried. I tried with hotspot. I would actually show you guys some of the analytics that I have. And that was actually part of the presentation I wanted to have, but I just didn't have the time to be able to edit it. It doesn't, I can't even fucking pick it up on this laptop. I had to literally download Windows 11 on it. It's just that old, and I've tried everything, but.
So what you'd say is that I shouldn't try to like worry if my video just, you know, 3 friends liked it and that's kind of all I have at the time. I don't need to think like I've ruined the discoverability of the video.
No.
It will just randomly get shown again. I don't have to worry as much.
To some extent it can. Some platforms too, you can try recycling or reposting it. Like I've done that with like clips of mine on Twitter for example. Like after like a year or something, if something is really good or has like initial success, I'll maybe like repost it with a different caption. Sometimes like the certain hashtag you use matters. Sometimes, well, it usually doesn't matter, but like sometimes the right time and place can matter if you feel like, oh, maybe reposting it would work, but at the same time, reposting the same raw file in video, the algorithm, or at least Twitter, will pick up on that and be like, oh, you're reposting the same old content. That's like kind of repeating or copying the same thing, and it might just not recommend that. But I think it just comes down to trying, depending on the platform. So like TikTok posting there and YouTube posting there. When you post there, just kind of leave it up there. That's the best thing I can give for that. But like Instagram or Twitter specifically, with it being kind of like more like scrolling trendy stuff after some time, if you want to repost it, you should be able to do that. And that's what I've done with my own clips too.
Oh, thank you.
Of course. Yes.
Especially going on that post, if it comes to TikTok, you should never, like in the first day, you should never like take the link to post it somewhere on your other media, because for some reason, don't ask me why it works like that, but the algorithm of TikTok does not count as views if they click on the link. They have to discover
Yes,
it.
oh, I heard that, yeah. It needs to be asked. It's really, really.
Yeah,
annoying.
it's a thing that literally exists. And the other thing,
to stay on their platform.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very like walled garden.
the other thing to cheat your older videos onto the platform again is going through them, answering several comments in 1 or 2 days, and then the algorithm thinks it's relevant again and posts it again.
So I just need to get some friends to post comments.
Exactly.
I will.
Don't bot them.
You're
Just
welcome.
don't bot them to some extent.
No, botting, no. Literally just my actual friends that want my videos to go somewhere, so.
Yeah. I'm gonna get comments like that too, of like people who say like, I'm commenting on this so YouTube recommends me this more. Like to some extent it can count that if people do that, and it has worked, but obviously, you know, super spammy things don't pick up on that.
Yeah.
You know, not to be like, oh, you know, trick the algorithm, but like don't send like the same comment or message. YouTube can sometimes see that as like, oh, this is a spam comment, or this video might be spammy, to try and feed the algorithm, because there are all sorts of like bot AI videos that are trying to swoosh their way into the algorithm through like fake accounts, fake people coming by to comment on it, and it really is a dead video for what it is, and it's just fake people coming in. And so you don't want YouTube to think that that is that, because it's not.
No.
But yeah, first you were fine.
I have a question. How about how much importance do you pay to the statistics and the numbers and everything? Is that something that like you really put in the foreground and analyze a lot, or would you say just keep it in the back, do whatever you like? Yeah, that kind of thing.
It really depends, because looking too much at analytics too is unhealthy. Like, especially with YouTube, their whole dashboard, comparing videos to the past 10 videos portion of it, I hate that so much. It is the most degrading thing ever, like the 1 of 10 system, where it will compare like the first 10 videos to one another and how it's performing. It's either like you get the 1 of 10, it's like, congratulations, you're awesome, or 10 of 10, and it's like, hey, you suck, you should stop. You suck. Did I tell you you sucked? You suck. And that's just, it's what it kind of feels to see that. It's a little degrading to be like, okay, I worked hard on this, I thought this was just as a good topic, and I've had that for topics that I thought would do very, very well, and it just didn't perform well. So like, a balance that I found with it is, again, looking at it a bit more constructively, but not like hyper-fixating on it, of like, okay, the viewership hitters off here, what can I do to get it back up? Maybe like throw like a meme on the screen. I'm like, that's just, that kind of takes too much away from me wanting to create. I'm more of someone that wants to create rather than worry about the nitty-gritty with analytics. I get that it's important to analyze, but sometimes hyper-focusing on it to the extent of like, one specific video versus like a trend that you see, or a data set of a bunch of videos having the same thing, isn't really helpful. Like, I've noticed some videos have like, I think a viewer retention of like 25%, where it would have been 30%, and that's for the past few videos. I'm like, okay, this is not just one video, it's a trend with multiple. So like, what am I doing in these videos that is similar to one another, and what can I change or fix with them to improve that? And it's just like little changes here and there to like get some feedback on your own end and then apply it to the future projects. So analytics, it's a balance. Yes, Kai.
Okay, to add to that,
Oh.
just briefly, it's for both YouTube and Twitch do this. Like, Twitch will also tell you, hey, your most recent stream had 3 viewers less than your previous. It's like, be very, very careful with this. Like, years ago, I forgot unfortunately YouTuber this was, but someone I followed, he made a video where he interviewed other YouTubers about just how mentally draining and damaging to their creativity was to obsess over the YouTube analytics, and the same thing again was for the Twitch ones, because they gamify everything. They try to keep you going, hustling, working hard, because the site benefits from it. But at that point, you're not working for yourself, you're working for only the site's benefit. So
Feeding the
be
machine.
super, super careful when you look at that stuff. Be mindful, especially if you have an addictive personality or you feel easily influenced by this stuff. It can feel really like dopamine, like, yeah, I got another view, yeah. Like, be very, very cautious that it can really just damage your creativity as someone who wants to express themselves.
It's very much the downside to the system that is in place for that, with the 1 of 10 system. It doesn't take into account that videos will continue to perform as well as they have. It kind of takes on this idea of like, okay, this video needs to perform better than the next one, and the next one, and the next one, and like, when is too much enough? Like, that's kind of like what even Mr. Beast put it, from what I've seen in like either interviews or discussions, where the way it is like, oh, I hit 500 million views on a video, that's great, but it still performs like 4 of 10, or it's not as good in the algorithm. And it's like, when is too much? And that's where the system just doesn't really give feedback that's constructive in the way of like, hey, this is going well in this section. It's more like, hey, you gotta keep going up and up and up. Instead of, you know, where success isn't linear, where it's going up, success is always going to fluctuate. And unfortunately, that's not taken into account with analytics.
Yeah.
Exactly. So it requires a bit of like discipline and not overthinking with that. And that's what I've had to do, where I'm like looking at like viewer retention or like how things are. Like, even as an example on my streams, I don't have my viewership numbers active. I do not look at that at all, just because I want to constantly think I'm just talking to people, and I don't want to think, oh, people left here. What did I say? What did I do differently? Because then you're just hyper-focusing on that, and like that's distracting from the stream, and I'd rather just be doing what I'm doing. So I've turned off viewership numbers and assume I'm just talking to like a handful of people and chatting with them. So that's how I kind of take it. But you had a question, Kai?
I just wanted to mention, you do still have my hotspot, I think, logged on your laptop. If you want to try to connect it so you can show your analytics. So I can just turn it on for you, I don't mind. Should be discoverable now. If you need the password, I can give it to you again.
We might have to do some finagling, because I don't know what's going to pop up on Firefox as soon as I open that, and I do not want to flash it.
Log out the cable now then. Show your search history.
We promise we will not judge you.
It's all out there, man.
We will not judge you for Affinity Light.
Yeah. Holy shit.
Okay, you got my free internet.
Could try that as well.
I mean, he has my hotspot from like last time, so
If it works.
This actually might be fun to look at.
Because
Might
we
be a
also
little-
have like an Ethernet.
What do we have for time, by the way? Oh, we're like an hour in, so we got like 20 minutes. give or take.
20 minutes still.
Okay. It's still loading. It might not load. It says I have 1 bar, by the way, and you're like right there.
I'll give you my phone. There you go.
But oh my god, thank you. I've always wanted another phone.
free.
Wow.
I'm renting it. It's not paid off yet.
Oh. It's okay. They go into another country, so they can't find me there.
It's an iPhone, I think he can.
Well, your list
got
of
this
things
always
that are
watching.
your list of things that are better in Europe than the US, we pay less for our data too.
Oh yeah, I feel like 15 euro a month.
Depends on the country.
Yeah.
Stop it.
Are we getting into the
We
argument? Are
still
we
pay
better
less than
doing
in the
this
US,
and
I
there?
promise you.
So I gotta see which. Why is it needing me to verify, dude? I've been logged in on this shit forever. Oh my god.
It's always there when you.
Where's my password manager? I'm gonna keep answering questions while getting this together, and maybe for like a future iteration, I'll probably change the slides to add some of these analytics. But let's ask questions. You've had your hand up for a bit before.
Yes,
Sorry.
I have a quick question.
Yes.
If a platform is going down or is it's going down, let's say, and you have all your core audience there, how do you entice them to switch the platform? For example, with Twitter, then to Gueast or to some other platform.
I mean, it's clearly worked well for all the furries going from Twitter to Blue Sky, right? Where they all kind of jumped ship and they all went back to Twitter because, you know.
Yeah.
Honestly, a lot of furries went back to Twitter. I never really left. I tried Blue Sky.
Many people left, I would say.
Yeah, it's really tricky, and the same thing kind of applies to even like switching to a new YouTube channel. Like, you are always going to have a fraction of the people. Like, if you're lucky, I'd even say like 10% of people coming over from one platform or one channel to another. It's very tricky to get them to unless you have a genuine like loyal audience, like super big fan base sort of thing. And even then, that's always a fraction, because no one wants to like usually put in the effort to do more of something to keep up with someone unless they really, really like that. And so a lot of times if, you know, for example with TikTok, you know, with them, I guess, banning TikTok, I don't remember what happened, it's all a mesh of info and whatnot, but basically for getting people to move over to like Instagram Reels or something, a lot of people did that, and it was always like kind of a fraction of it. I wouldn't say everyone from TikTok moved to Instagram. I'd say they moved and then came back as soon as TikTok came back, or would have just not gone anywhere else at the end of the day. So usually I'd avoid moving between platforms. But in general, just like having it active where you're using it as well along with the new one can help people move over. Like just listing in the description of like whatever new platform, like if I listed my Blue Sky or something in my YouTube comments, people would eventually like kind of move over there. You kind of have to let it be natural over time rather than just burst, because even then the burst won't result in more people coming over. So just something to keep in mind. But good question with that. Thank you. I think I saw that.
Something, that's why I was raising.
Okay, let me.
What I do besides like the linking part and slowly check them over to another platform is giving every platform a little bit of special individual content that you can, for example, if you're doing YouTube Shorts and TikToks, why should someone bother like using both platforms if you upload the same shit? But then if you upload on YouTube too, not only the short but also long format videos, you add like a unique part of it.
Oh, like exclusive videos, for example.
Exactly. That can help to bring people over so they see different.
Now I have to verify with YouTube on my phone. What number is this? 27? Not enough space on device, hello? Yes, I'm trying to log into Vienna. We've been through this before like 5 times now. 27. Now I'm logged into YouTube. Isn't this fun doing this every You think they want me to like use their platform, you know, and we'll watch their like brain rot shit? Like as soon as I saw the YouTube homepage, it's all just like the anime shorts of like clips that happen in anime, but it's like the weird video effect that makes me uncomfortable isn't in 60 FPS. Why is that a trend? Why do people think it looks better? It does not look better.
Did you see the lockdown homepage always recommend you the video of Mr. Bean? That keeps happening on my TV.
I'm so sorry.
The YouTube app on my TV just always puts on the front page because I refuse to log in. Just always a video of Mr. Bean for some reason.
Could be worse. Could be worse.
I know, it's just weird. It's like I think it just believes if you don't log into YouTube, you definitely want to see Mr. Bean.
I don't know what analytics really to look at with this, because this also shows my income.
Take a screenshot.
That's fine. We are all poor here.
Yes, give me it out.
I don't know what do you guys specifically like to see? I guess like a show like which like if anyone has a specific analytic you want to see from
What do
me.
you think is educational to us, though? Like,
I don't know, because everything I try to analyze doesn't make any sense to me even.
Maybe do you have the different videos, how well they do, like comparison?
Ooh.
It's not that horrible. 10 out of 10 system.
Yeah, maybe because you were talking about that.
True. Let's see, which one can I take a look at?
Yeah.
I don't know. Oh, that one I can't show. Yeah, some of these, that's the problem with that. I have like such niche topics that end up having like a burst of viewership. Like even, you know, maybe this will be a good example of showing long term. Hold on. So I did this video kind of discussing like the double-edged sword that I'd like to call with furry community really anything, and it's pretty much that like it's welcoming to everyone, but it's also welcoming to everyone. You know, bad actors, this and that. Did like a really in-depth video discussing it within reference to a meme. And I guess as an example of how that video has performed, it hasn't really had a boost per se, even in like changing the thumbnail and title of it. But it's one of those where even over time it does get like a little bit of viewership. Are you gonna show? Are you gonna be a good boy? Good boy. Oh, so good. But this is an example of like how the analytics like look with a video and how I can even look back. Actually, this is a good example to show how I analyze a video. So this is like the general gist of how you're gonna see it, how a video is doing in 48 hours. This I uploaded like 3-4 months ago, give or take, I think, yeah. and it shows how it's performed over time. So like the first few days, you're gonna have that initial boost if it's like a niche topic, and that's like people that watch the channel, or people that want to see the video, or get recommended through people that have watched it initially. And because it's kind of a very niche and specific video, the harsh truth about joining the furry community, that's more for like furry specifically. So seeing it in the long term, it might not be recommended as much. And that's just how it be. I'm still gonna do the video regardless, because I had a good time talking about this. But you can see over time, it does increase in viewership like ever so slightly. Like it gets to like the 30K mark, and then it's still under the 30K mark. And like, I don't care as much as these analytics of like this performed less, or like this sucks. And it's like, I don't care. Usually. What I do try to pay attention to in the long term of like improving a video is specifically this lower portion here of viewership retention. And this is actually the most important part of how a video is recommended, because YouTube is going to want to look at how long people stay on your video. Like that's why you usually have people recommend, oh, watch this video till the end, oh, watch it all the way through. Viewership retention is important to YouTube because that's how they get you to watch ads, and that's how they make money through advertisers paying for advertisement space on the platform. And so you usually have this be the most important section to look at. And usually I'll take into account the viewer duration for the length of the video. So usually a longer video means that it's less likely people are going to watch it, but it's still gonna have a pretty okay retention. I found that in like my longer videos that are like 25 minutes, me yapping on, it's still like 30% of people watched. It's not great by YouTube general standards, but for me, it's about the average that I get. And the little thing at the bottom here for like how many people are watching at the 30-second mark is also a good point to tell like if you get into the topic as quickly. And sadly, like longer form videos are susceptible to like the quick choppy nature of like getting into whatever topic it is. The same thing as like YouTube shorts, where you want it to be snappy, you want to get to the point because you want people to watch it for longer. So the intro usually is the most important point that I'll focus on, because you want people to stay dedicated to watching through the rest of it. And so you'll see this kind of graph go down in time of like how many people will just watch it. And I'll try to see like where things dip down and how I can improve it. And pretty much what I've done since the time of uploading this video is I try to narrow down the videos, unless it's like a video essay or something super lengthy that needs to be 20 minutes. I'll try and have, if I were to redo this video, I'd want to cut the time of how long this is in half, just to like get that viewership a little bit back. Because if I do cut it in half, the viewership would end at around just below 30%. And if there's more people watching throughout here, average percentage viewed, if it was for like the 7-minute duration, that'd be like 50%, 60% of the video. And that would mean that this very likely would be recommended more in the YouTube algorithm because it's a lengthier video, it's a lengthier project. They're like, oh, people are watching this more, they want to see it more, so they're gonna recommend it more, regardless of the title and or thumbnail. So that's kind of the advice that I give when I go through analyzing my own videos and analytics. Yes, question?
Are those upward spikes, are they like when someone like rewinds, thank you. When someone rewinds the video, or what are those?
So they usually, it's usually just a spike in how many people watch that part. Like, I guess the best example is like when I've done like meme review videos, they'll have like spikes in like when people watch that specific one, and they'll be more defined than like they are here. Like these little spikes, I would say, aren't really meaningful for like what happens in the video. Like this is at like the 2-minute mark, I was probably yapping on or made like some little quip or joke that people would like want to see again of like, oh, that was pretty funny, let's watch that again. That's what a spike would be. But a lot of times when I've done like the meme review videos, the spikes will be a lot bigger. And so they'll like outline it in like a section right there, give or take. And they'll usually say like, oh, this is a spike in the video. This is where people are going to watch that again.